Hi everyone, welcome to a presentation on GCSE physical education. Clearly down in the lower school you would have done physical education in the sense of the practical sport, whereas as we move on to GCSE, this is where we're going to delve into the theory application side of things and have a little bit more of an in-depth look at PE in general. We work with OCR, that's our exam board, and that works out at 60% of an exam and then 40% non-examined assessment. Assessment is clearly quite an important aspect of the course, and a very good thing with the GCPE is it's not all exam based. There is an element of practical assessment as well. In terms of the exams, you'll have 2 exam papers, and these will be worth 30% each and then combined 60% of your final mark. You take these at the end of year 11 and both papers are 60 minutes each. Paper 1 focuses on anatomy and physiology, whereas paper 2 looks at the social cultural side of things, and on both papers there'll be a question that will relate from topics from both papers to bring that together. When we look at the NEA, this is 40% of your final mark, and this is internally assessed by ourselves and then externally moderated at the end of year 11. You'll have a choice of 3 sports and then 1 controlled assessment. You can combine the types of sport you choose. So for instance, you could do 2 individual and 1 team, 2 team and 1 individual. But what you can't do is just do all individual or all team. But you'll be guided upon which best sport is for you, and we will have those conversations to find out what's going to be the best pathway for you in terms of 2 individual or 1 team, or a mixture of the both. The main focus for you then will be what will you actually study in year 9. Year 9 for you is going to be about introducing the foundational knowledge that you're going to need to build the basic skills in order to be successful within the course. So we're looking at the core themes that are within GCPE and just building upon them and giving you the starting point of each particular theme. So we'll look at things like physical training, how an athlete develops himself in order to reach peak performance. We will look at the skeletal and muscular system in terms of how our body's made up, how these 2 systems work together in order to create movement to provide us a certain function within the body. We'll also look at the cardiovascular system and the respiratory system. These are going to be important for us in terms of how our body functions day to day, how it is able to perform in certain exercises. And then finally we'll look at health and well-being, more of a general overview of why is sport important to our health, how does it help with our well-being. As I said, these are all the core main themes within GCPE, but also there's crossover in terms of a lot of the scientific knowledge will then be used in biology and science as well. So it's a really good year to build upon your scientific knowledge and understanding going forward into the rest of the course. When we move forward with year 10 and year 11, this is where we start to broaden our understanding and the topics that we look at in terms of GCSE. Year 10 in particular, we're going to start looking at more of the social cultural aspects of the course in terms of things like sports psychology. What goes through an athlete's mind as they prepare for a big activity or event? What methods do they use to calm their nerves or to G themselves up in preparation for that performance? We also begin to look at media, how media has this hold and influence over sport. Why does it have that influence? How does it exert that influence? Whilst we then also start to understand the engagement in sport, we look at the sociology behind it in terms of why do certain socioeconomic groups take part in certain sports? Why is there less take up in certain sports in terms of different gender issues? And then we also develop that scientific understanding a little bit more when we look at movement analysis, and we look at the biomechanics of how the body moves and the certain aspects of why it's moving that way. And in the end of year 10, we'll finally start to look at that NEA assessment in terms of the analysis of performance. Now this is a controlled piece of assessment over 14 hours, and it will be written via the computers. So it's a big chunk of work, but you're essentially focusing on either your performance or another person's performance, and you begin to analyse it. You critically think about their performance, why it's done in a certain way, the skills they would need to be successful within that performance. Once we get into year 11, this is where we start to gather all that information from year 9 and year 10 and really build and apply it within the key overall themes that we've been looking at throughout years 9 and year 10. So we look at that applied anatomy and physiology. We start to delve deeper and link it into more sporting examples and more sporting situations. We look at our physical training and social culture issues and how all of this can be better applied for success within our exam at the end of year 11. Where can studying this subject then lead us to? If we split our understanding of where it could lead us to into 3 sections, we look at skills, post-16 and careers. In terms of skills, you're going to learn to critically analyse and evaluate different sporting scenarios. You're going to be challenged to independently think about certain subject topics and certain aspects that would affect an individual. Within the practical element and in theory, you're going to be forced to make effective decisions. You're going to increase your ability to make good decisions under pressure. And we hope that overall you're going to develop a wider understanding of physical performance and the social aspects of sport. It's not just developing skills in terms of practical, we're really developing your analytical and evaluative skills when you look at sport performance and the social aspects of PE. Moving on to post-16, clearly GCPE can help you progress on to A-level PE, sports science courses, BTECs, but the broader sense of that, it could also be used in biology. You then can develop into sociology and psychology because you've already started to look at those key themes within the realm of sports. And further on to that, in terms of the careers, what could our next steps be in? We look at broad senses of things like education, sports management, marketing, health and fitness industry, or sports journalism, and even coaching. There's such a huge array of careers you could go into with the skills that can be transferred across different sectors because of GCPE. Why should you then choose GCPE? What makes it a good course for yourself? If you're somebody who enjoys practical sports, you take part in a variety, both at extracurricular but external sports outside of school as well, then you'd be a fantastic person to start to think about GCPE, because your practical element, that 40% of your final grade, is going to be very strong because you clearly have a love for the physical aspect of GCPE. It's also going to be for people who are interested in how the body works and the methods used to reach that peak performance. So if you're not only somebody who enjoys the practical side of things, but you're also interested in why is it that somebody can do the things that they do, then this course is going to be helping you develop that understanding and also be able to give you the tools in order to apply that to your own physical performance. You might also be interested in why people take part in sports, the different elements outside of sports control that have an effect on the sports that you're able to access, the reasons different sports are in the media than others. Perhaps you are interested in that social economic side of things and not just the practical and the body section. And finally, you're someone who works well within a team or as an individual, and you enjoy a challenge. It isn't going to be easy. It's a new course. There's a lot of scientific understanding, but once you delve deep into that and you really enjoy the challenge, you then gain so much out of the course. You gain so much understanding and applicable knowledge throughout your life and throughout the different subjects transferring over across the school. It really is a fantastic course for you to do, but you've got to be up and ready and willing for that challenge. Overall, GCP will be a huge benefit to you, both in terms of your health, but then also in terms of your education. So it'd be a really good course if you know that any of those things apply to you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation. If you do have any further questions, then please feel free to contact Mr. Ford through Microsoft Teams or on email directly at fordk@bromfords.essex.ich.uk. But also don't feel afraid to message any of your PE teachers. We will all have some understanding and knowledge to be able to give you. So please, any questions or any queries, don't hesitate to contact us.